Holy crap, gang. What a day. What a day. Didn't expect my birthday to be so sick, considering the fact that today, my actual birthday, was not even the day that I'm having friends over and doing a party. I literally just like woke up today, did a bunch of errands. I got a free cookie. It was just lovely. It was really nice outside. I got some good driving in. Listened to some banger tunes. The Discord's popping off, bro. We're chilling. We're max big chilling. I don't want to beat around the bush too much. I got a lot of shit to talk about, so I kind of think I should just get into it. Everyone else can catch up if that's what they're up to. And if they're not, catch you in the VOD, bro. Catch you in the clip. Catch you in the highlight, man. I've got a whiteboard. The way that I think that this is maybe gonna work is I've got a document here that's a lot of stuff. A lot of things that I wrote. Document Pog, dude. Yes. Documentos. Okay, so I've got like a Word document and I've got this whiteboard. So we're gonna kind of alternate between the two things and I'll kind of frickin' tell you all what I'm thinking. I'm gonna start kind of big picture-ish and we're gonna dial in. At FanFest, they're gonna be talking about 7.5 and 8.0, right? So these are our big guys, right? This is what we're doing. 7.5, we got 8.0. 7.5 is gonna be fine. It'll be a fine patch. We're hoping if we clock in at a B-, we're gonna be very happy with 7.5. 8.0, however, I set my sights a little higher. We really want an A+. We really want this to be an A+. So we're starting with 7.5. Obviously, chronologically, they're gonna open the keynote with 8.0 stuff. That's how they do these things. It's the more exciting time, whatever. It's gonna be 8.0. But in terms of a discussion, I want to get 7.5 out of the way, and then we'll get to the rest. So, what info we are likely to get? Ultimate. We got Kefka. Then we got Story, right? Story's good. We like Story. Huge for us. You're gonna see how bad my handwriting is, by the way. There's a 24-man, and then we got Beastmaster, and then we got a Cold Crescent, right? OOC, I think, is the thing for it. I'm not sure. Ultimate. I'm gonna just copy paste what I wrote for Ultimate. Kefka. I really want this to be the Warring Triad because I have a lot of nostalgia about specifically Sephiroth and Zervan. If it's Kefka and X-Death or Chaos, that's totally cool with me. Or if it's other Final Fantasy VI stuff, that's fine by me too. I've never played the Final Fantasies so I just know him from 08S, and it's like one of the best fights in the game. One of the first Savage tiers I ever like really got down, you know? Seeing him again, God Kefka is gonna be awesome. I'm so excited to tackle Kefka with my raid group. This can't go wrong. This is the reason that 7.5 is like almost guaranteed B-, just because of the existence of this, but maybe it's bad. Who knows? The Triad actually like spawning from the tower would be rad. Totally agree with that. Story-wise. So we're gonna do Remnants of Garlemald and the Void, I think, because the dungeon is Clytem, which is very clearly Garlemald, and then the instance is very much a Void guy. There was another Void like Garlemald monster in the trailer. It's either in the dungeon or around the dungeon or in a cutscene or whatever. Something's happening with those two things. My thought would be that relates to the next expansion, obviously. So then that makes me think it's either more exploring or whatever into the icy world, like the icy parts of the planet, or it's space shit or void stuff. Like kind of those three. I'm very willing for any of those. This has the feeling of like this expansion being like Heaven's Ward 2. Heaven's Wardest. The most powerful expansion of all time. Potentially. The Heaven's Wardening. It could be anything. I am not super concerned about the specifics of where we're going. As long as it's a cool place to explore, it takes the story to an interesting new place, I'm more than happy with that. The 24-man, I'm sure it's going to be fine. I don't know Final Fantasy 11. I'm sure there's going to be cool guys or whatever. But by and large, I don't have too much dog in the fight in terms of 24-man. Kind of the same thing with Beastmaster. I hope the roguelike function is cool. I like roguelikes, so I hope that that's fun. At the very least, I'll probably collect all the pets and stuff. That should be fun. And then the Cold Crescent, I haven't done the last one. I'll get to it if there's time. Mom, stop nagging me. Just kidding. My mother's a lovely woman. She would never force me to do content I don't want to do. That's 7.0 for me, basically. Like, Ultimate, it's going to be Kefka. It depends on if it's one way or the other. The story, I think it's going to have something to do with Garlemald and the Void and some ice area or maybe space. I know that those are all very vague, but again, I'm not super concerned about the story of this expansion. There's no way it's going to be worse than Dawn Trail, respectfully. I'm really looking for more systemic stuff in 8.0. That's honestly why I'm more excited about that. Zuzu, known to love ice zones. I'll make an exception if the expansion's good is the thing. If every single zone is ice, but then all my other predictions come true, I will feel so vindicated. I will have a chill down my spine as if I was looking at a popsicle for 2 years of this expansion, and it will be worth it if the rest of the stuff is true. That's what we've got going on in terms of my opinions. That's all my 7.5 stuff. I really don't care. I'm here for the expansion, so let's get to it. For 8.0, I'm kind of coming at it from the perspective of what we're likely to have announced based on previous FanFests, plus what I want them to announce, and then thirdly, my absolute pie in the sky. If this gets announced, we're instant 10 out of 10. We're instant A+, basically, until further notice. The expansion's A+, if any of that stuff happens. Are you making a bingo sheet? I don't want to make a bingo sheet because, as you're about to find out, I have like 3 permutations of each individual thing. I'm not making a bingo board, man. It's just not worth it for me. I'll make a checklist, if anything. And if I get 0 right on my checklist, that's fine. Bingo board is a little bit too restrictive for what I feel like talking about. 8.0. So I'm pretty sure what info we're likely to get. This is based on my remembrance of previous FanFests. So take it with a grain of salt. I could be misremembering things that were announced at the second FanFest, but I thought it was the first one. Like this is all subject to my bad memory. But I'm trying my best. I swear I'm trying my best. We're definitely getting a teaser trailer, 100%. We're definitely getting at least some information about where we're going. Getting information about how many jobs and what roles. Big system changes if they're doing anything like that, which they have been alluding to. Level cap increase, how many zones, dungeons, what the 24-man series is, what the 8-man raid series is, and then vague release window. The ones that have question marks on them, so the 24-man series, the 8-man raid series, and then the release window. I can't 100% remember if that's what we received first FanFest at previous times. But I'm going to proceed assuming that we are going to get at least names of stuff because I'm pretty sure that's how that's been received in the past. With these however many categories, here's what I'm thinking. Story stuff is kind of the same as 7.5. I think it's going to be more ice or void or space. Those are my 3 like categories of things. If it's a time expansion, that would also be kind of within the realm of possibility. But if it's time, I've always wanted like a mock, but the War of the Magi from Void Ark and stuff like that. Those settings were really cool, and it would be cool to revisit a previous era of the planet, but that's in my like really unlikely category, and it's not even in the category of like I think it's unlikely, but I really, really want it to happen. Because the other thing is like Mericidia, right? That I guess is like kind of in contention, but me personally, I just don't know the lore enough if Mericidia is an icy place or if it's a fiery place or whatever. I really don't recall what we know about Mericidia. It could be anything. So, job stuff. So, we're almost certainly going to get information on the jobs. That's the number one thing everyone wants to talk about. If there are 2 jobs, I want a Fizz ranged and a tank. For a Fizz ranged, I feel like greedy DPS is the way to go. Greed. Think machinist. I really want like a swashbuckler potentially. I think it could be really cool to have like a Fizz ranged with a melee combo, but it could be anything. I am not super like, it has to be swashbuckler, I'm gonna be pissed. Like, I'm probably not playing this class basically regardless of what happens, because I'll probably play Dark Knight. So as long as it's cool and I enjoy leveling it, that works for me. But my ideal would be swashbuckler for sure. But we'll see. At the end of the day, I really like physical range, but it's not my main role, so I'm not super stressed about it. Job number 2, tank. I think because the last one we received was Gunbreaker, and Gunbreaker is more of a physical tank. I hope that whatever we get is more of a magical tank. So in the sense of, we're looking at Warrior, we're looking at Gunbreaker. They got the swords, they got the self-heal, they got physical stuff that they're doing in themselves. Whereas with Paladin and Dark Knight, it's all about magical powering up. It's about TBN, it's about Holy Spirit. I would hope that we go for magical next. I don't know what this looks like. It could be a rune mage. It could be literally they could just have a staff and no sword or anything like that. I have no fucking clue. That's what I'm thinking for the tank side of things. And I have a caveat in terms of stuff that I think is coming for tank, but this is what I think is most likely. What is most likely? Not my pie in the sky, not what I personally want, but what I think based on trends is the likely outcome. Again, I love Dark Knight too much, so no matter what this tank is, I'm probably not playing it. So it's sort of like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It almost what these two jobs actually are basically doesn't matter to me. Instead of shadow/light magic, it's the classical elements. I could dig it. I could dig it for sure. I think part of that too is, they try to exist within the constraints of, Final Fantasy jobs that have existed in the past, while also not feeling beholden to them. At this point, whenever we got Machinist or whatever, that was anytime after that, anything's fair game. We shall see. Magic would be cool. Again, it's not a huge deal to me one way or the other, because there's actually something that I would prefer over getting a tank at all, but we'll talk about that later. Rune Fencer, I think from 11. I've heard that said before, but I've never actually seen it necessarily. Oh, it is a tank. Oh, cool. Yeah, they could do anything. Looks like a little bit more of like a greatsword user, but I assume they could have other weapons too. I'm down for whatever. I'm down for them to pull from literally anything. I kind of don't. It's not a huge deal to me. It could be a fucking werewolf for all I care. Some type of druid or something. Who knows? Oh, I guess I'll mention one more thing. For tanks, if they add a new tank, I do still hope that they consider implementing a similar system to the shield versus pure healer to tanks, as like a MT versus OT preference. In the same way that they quantified having a shield healer and a pure healer in an 8-person party, they do the same thing with the 2 tank types. So they can align them and balance them in that way and make it so they're maybe a little bit better one way or another, but they can still do their job in 4-man content regardless, right? You don't care about your comp in 4-man because you don't need 2 healers. You don't care about tank for the same thing. I've got my bring back threat management picket sign. I'd be shocked if they brought back threat management in that way. I would rather have harder rotation, like DPS rotations on tanks, than ever bring back threat again. But this is what I'm thinking for the tanks. New tank or not a new tank, if we get a fizz ranged and not a tank, if we get a fizz ranged and another DPS or whatever, I still hope that they do this to tanks. Because I think it will. It seems like it's been. I'm not a healer main, so beat me to death with hammers if I'm wrong, I guess, but it seems like that distinction has made a big difference for healers too. So I feel like it would work for tanks as well. That's what I got for that. The next big thing, system changes. Yoshi P has been hinting at some kind of system change. Some kind of big thing that is going to change how we do something. It's so funny how little information we have on this. Some people think it's going to be some massive change that completely retcons everything. Some people think it's going to be one extra slot of materia. Like it could be anything, literally. It could be literally anything. My hope is it's something in the middle where it adds some customization, but not necessarily a super intense deep system that requires people to throw hours and hours into it to prog it or farm out a material or whatever. I think it's going to be something a little bit closer to, if I remember right, back in Heavensward, when we got materia slots on raid gear, right? That's just a little touch of customization. We still do it to this very day. It's second nature. It's a system that's been in this game for such a long time at this point. I think the game is due for another type of this. Just one little thing. Is this an eraser? It is. Eraser? I hardly know her. Yeah, I would be shocked at having Eureka actions into main content. I wouldn't say no. But it seems far-fetched for me. Far-fetched the Pokemon. He's gonna whack you with his leak. That's what I think about the system change, because they've confirmed that something's happening, but we don't necessarily know one way or the other. So it's like, I don't think it's gonna be attribute points. I don't think it's gonna be skill tree choices. It'll be something, slight customization, not over the top. One more thing to kind of chew on and think about for gearing, but nothing that's gonna drive anybody over the edge. Now we've got the level cap increase. 110 is a big number. If they go for just straight 110, then I expect them to, in perpetuity, we're going plus 10 for forever, basically. The problem with this situation is that the numbers are they're just gonna keep getting bigger. So there's some universe where we get a level crunch. There's some universe where we stay at level 100 on our main jobs and just get plus 10 in some sub job or whatever, or advanced Dark Knight or whatever the case may be. They might label the next level increase something different, or make it 5 or something like that. I could see a universe where any combination of those is kind of accurate, but if the level increase, right, has anything to do with this system change, then it'll be some combination of, class customization on top of gear progression. But again, we don't know. We'll get to the pie in the sky. I think my like base level median take is we're just getting 10 levels and there's no sub jobs. I think no sub jobs makes the most sense. Darker Knight. I'm down for skill trees, but I don't think that's it. Yeah, I think the game does not particularly have, and maybe this is me just being like doomer about it, but it doesn't feel like the game is particularly set up for a skill tree type thing. If we see a pick 3, if Beastmaster has a pick 3 mechanic, like in roguelikes, then honestly, I could kind of see like them adding traits. You know what I mean? But we'll see. That might be me being too copium. That might be me being too pie in the sky. But as always, with any secondary piece of content, Beastmaster, Occult Crescent, like you said, Eureka, every time they add stuff like that to the game, it makes me hope that they add it to the rest of the class design. So we'll see how that works out. I would take traits, I would take sub job, I would take some point spending thing, but I don't think that's it either. But yeah, sub jobs would be able to keep it so your class stays 100 and then you just get an extra thing, which I think is like kind of positive because 100 is such a good number. 100 is so good. They bring back the summoner scholar thing and all jobs get a split, never gonna happen. I could see a split in the sense of your job crystal changes or something and you get an extra tier of blah, blah, blah. But I think you're right in the sense of it would never become two separate classes for sure. So yeah, I think my biggest thing is like 10 levels, maybe sub job. If it's a sub job, then maybe there's some customization there, right? Like as a Dark Knight, I could pick Paladin or Warrior or Ninja or whatever. That would be cool. But if I'm a betting man, I think it's 10 levels that are like super levels and have nothing attached to them. So like you become like level 100 Dark Knight and then you get 10 levels in Hero or something like that. If you get to pick a sub job, then we get into the realm of there being traits and customization, which would be really cool. I'm gonna just write down here as my final prediction because I kind of waffled about there for a little bit. Okay, those are my guesses. We're not gonna go to 110. We're gonna get 10 levels, something on top of 100. It really depends on how they want to go with the UI. I think the UI actually makes a huge difference. If I could find a way to save this, I'll probably post it somewhere too. Next thing that we are definitely going to hear from FanFest but I'm not going to make 100% prediction, but I'll give you my best guess. Next thing we've got is release date. Release date, release date, release date. So people do math on this. I know it's not that crazy, but our last Fan Fest ends in November. So part of me thinks it's got to be at least some number of months after the last Fan Fest. If it's November plus 3 months, puts us at February. So spring 2027. That's my guess. If it's like end of year 2026, I'm going to be flabbergasted. I think spring, summer 2027 is my best guess. And I'm leaning spring. This isn't necessarily what I want. This isn't necessarily, obviously I wish I had it today. I think this is my best guess. Other people might have more data backed information, maybe a little bit better of an idea of what it might be in 2027 for sure. Almost certainly. Alrighty, now we're gonna get into the fun stuff. The fun stuff. It's time for pie. This is the pie, and it is in the sky. Lucy in the pie with jobstones. There's a storm of brewing, buddy. Boy, you got another thing coming. What are my pie in the sky theories? What do I want to happen? What are my number one wishes? What do I want from this game? What do I want in 8.0? As previously discussed up here, I think there's going to be a fizz ranged. I think that's almost guaranteed. I think we're almost certainly getting a fizz ranged. It balances out all the numbers. I think it's pretty much guaranteed to be that. That being said, the tank thing is what I don't necessarily agree with, because at this point, we're sitting at 4 tanks, 4 healers, 4 magic DPS, 3 fizz ranged, 6 assorted melees of 2 different categories. Everything is super even. Adding a tank at this point sets us into the cycle of needing at least one more of everything, which I don't know if the game has the design space to accommodate. So my pie in the sky theory for, aside from 1 fizz ranged, is no new tank. Job changes. My handwriting's so bad that if I misspell something, I think it would be hard to tell. Job adjustments. Major. And like I said earlier, the OT, MT split. Again, in the same way that they split the shield and the pure healer, I would really like OT, MT split to be quantified so that they can use that to balance the tanks and keep messing with job identity. I really don't think a 5th tank solves the problem that we have with the 4 tanks. All the tanks are very playable. I find them to all be quite enjoyable. I've got my gripes with Paladin, but that's honestly mostly just a meme. At the end of the day, I think all the tanks are fine, totally reasonable. And a 5th tank doesn't solve any problems for us. It just doesn't. I could be wrong. I could be not seeing some pathway. But yeah, I think the better way to do the tanks is to do it them the same way that they did healers. You don't want the switch tank that can OT. The problem is that every tank can switch tank. Like, that's the system that it exists now. You gotta be memeing. You gotta be trolling me. You're trolling me. There's no way that was a real suggestion. Damn. Oblation now heals you when the target takes damage. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. That'll come later. We're talking about Oblation in a second. I would split it very similarly to what things are like now and go like MT prio, OT prio. We go Paladin Warrior, obviously, and we go Dark Knight Gunbreaker. Let's say we get Rune Fencer, right? Here he is. He's here now. It's him, the Rune Fencer. He's sitting here going, little crowded. You go here, this feels empty. You go here, this feels empty. There's nowhere for him to go. He can't live anywhere. You would swap Paladin and Gunbreaker? I'm very curious what your logic is on that, because as a pretty, like I've played all the tanks quite a bit, Gunbreaker and Dark Knight are way more annoying to main tank. Paladin and Warrior are way easier to main tank. Like Holy Spirit, being able to block. Paladin Spirit is an off tank. Oh, interesting. Okay, I guess that's fair. Visually, Paladin is super primary tank coded. I 100% agree with that, Drens. But yeah, I see what you're saying too, Michael. But again, you know, this is why I think codifying the split would benefit the jobs, right? Because we're literally sitting here being like, which one's which, right? Whereas it's like, if the game just makes it, if the game just says, this is what it is, and this is what it is. Or frankly, I mean, I would do this. I don't care. Like, this is fine too. At the end of the day, I make whatever work. It's fine. I don't know how I ended up with you over here. You get to be sideways. I wouldn't even mind this. Whatever. But I think codifying it is the thing that I think would benefit the role. Okay. All right. I made it too big so it doesn't even fit it. Yes. Yes. Excellent. Well, I also think it's like, if you don't have a paladin as main tank, their shield does literally nothing. Like, it's a mechanic that doesn't do anything. Rune Fencer's so strong, every tank gets deleted. The new 2 tanks are Rune Fencer and Blue Mage. Blue's on every side. In the Holy Trinity, blue stands on top of all of them. It stands on top of the pyramid. Not in a position of power, but in a position of precarious existence. The new meta is add 2 jobs, delete 5. I also think part of the reason that I'm thinking about the tank split is it would be nice if tank stances did something again. So, for example, if you've got your aggro stance on, you have one combo. If you have your aggro stance off, you have another combo. And the potency is similar, but you, for example, get to do 1 rotation as main tank and 1 rotation as off tank. That would be interesting to me, personally. But we'll talk about that when we get to Dark Knight, to be honest. Still got my threat management picket sign. Again, I can't help you with that one, brother. I really can't. Imagine if the benefit of OT is your kid has more ranged options so you can move around more. That's fucking awesome. That's such a good idea. That's so cool. And it would make sense for Paladin and Dark Knight, at least, to get more ranged options. Yeah, because the other split that could be good is, like, OT Dark Paladin and do the, like, less ranged options. I really like that idea. It's a really, really cool idea, Drens. I think that's really neat. I would be perfectly happy with this. I'd be cool with any permutation of these, even if it means we have to change our comp in raid. I would do it for better job identity, balance, etc. Whatever they want to do. Complexity. I want a more complex rotation on Dark Knight. If I have to do 1, 2, 3 Soul Eater spam for another tier, I'm sick of it. Your ranged idea is genuinely a good idea. My bad idea is this. This is my really bad idea. So if they do an MTOT split, like your stance gives you different abilities or whatever for off tanking or main tanking. If they do that, I would unironically be super happy for positionals on tanks. If as a main tank you used it and it negated all positionals, or it gave you a front positional, and then as off tank you had to do like first hit combo, back positional for your second combo, side positional for your third combo, or whatever. Or if they give me a second tier combo, right? If they do 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 4, and then 3 and 4 are back versus side and they combo to each other, I'd be perfectly happy with that too. But literally, I just need a little bit more complexity for the tanks. I think they're all a little... I could go for a little bit more complexity in terms of their actual rotations. I've been playing Dark Knight the exact same way for one expansion too many. That's how I feel. Positionals on tanks would be unironically fun and funny, so please do that. But, you know, in the more realistic situation, Rune Fencer just deletes them all. So I guess that's sort of a flaw in the plan. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so that's my big tank changes stuff. We want a fizz ranged, it doesn't matter. No tank, job adjustments major. This is what I'm talking about when I mean this sub-job stuff, class customization, all of these systems. If they implement them at the same time, I could see it being under the umbrella of job adjustments major. If we get, this is the umbrella. Job customization, new progression systems, traits, materia with special effects. Basically anything that is like kind of adds to the complexity of job design, customization, etc. is under this umbrella. This is the world in which this stuff lives. I don't care necessarily what it is, but if it exists, I want it, and I want it to take priority over a 5th tank. This, to me, way higher prio. Way, 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 way higher prio than 5th tank. Howdy, Rune Fencer. All right, we're done talking about big picture stuff. I want to talk about what I want from Dark Knight. It's this, sweet summer child. Personal wish list, Dark Knight. This is the one. I am a Dark Knight main. All I care about is Dark Knight. Who cares about other classes? Warrior, who needs it? Paladin. Huff my duff. Gunbreaker, you're actually cool. You get a pass. You're fine. But Dark Knight, we care about this guy. So, number 1, another combo ember. I just talked about it. I can't with this button anymore, man. I literally can't. I can't. This is the PvP version, but it's going in the document. My enemy, my sworn enemy. No. Or give me back the other one. I sent you an image to use in your presentation. I'll take a look. 1 second. Let me rip through. Oh, this. There you go. You get to be there. Oh, very good. It'll never happen. If you want, we could do dungeons. We'll do dungeons together as we're leveling, and I'll just never turn on my tank stance. You rip off thread map that way, I'm sure. Is it Delirium? Dark Knight Delirium Heaven's Ward. It was the blue button. Give me the blue button. I don't think I could find it. Or 1, 2, 4 combo. I'm happy with Delirium. I like pressing Delirium and getting the 3 hits. It's fun. It's fine and dandy. I literally just, I need to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4 for extra gauge, or like I said earlier, the positionals would be sick. So I guess that's a caveat to this one too. Again, this is pie in the sky. I really don't think that any of this stuff that I'm talking about has a super high likelihood of happening. But if it does happen, guess what? Guess what? Shit's an A+, baby. We already know. We already know the damn thing, you know? That's number 1. I miss the animation. Again, I don't look at animations. I respect it. I just don't look at them. I want the class to play less boring, and that does not, the animations of it does not impact that for me. The next couple I'm just gonna kind of go through quick. I want extra mitt, one extra party mitt. I feel like Dark is lacks a lot versus Paladin and Warrior. Shake It Off is an absolutely insane button. It absolutely mogs me in Raid. It's crazy that Dark Knight or Warrior has that button. I just want some party mitt. Put it on Salted Earth, put it on Frey, put it on Dark Missionary, put it on Oblation, put it on literally fucking anything. I don't care. I think Salted Earth as a puddle would be cool. So like Super Salted Earth, where it has like it just puts up a shield for 30 seconds whenever you use it. It would be bad. I don't really care. I just want to be able to press the button sometimes. That's really it. Number 3. Number 15. I would like a number 15. Does anyone want to guess what number 3 is? After combo, we've talked about it several times. Say it with me now, class. I need Oblation to change. Oblation. You need to be different. You need to do something. You need to look cooler. You need to have more text. Because guess what? This shit pisses me off. Like, hey, look. Hey. Reduces damage taken by a party member herself by 10%. 10%? That's like 1/10 of 100, like 100%. We're hurtling towards taking 0 damage from this ability. It's so good. It's so good. Let's take a look what Paladin's got. Let's see what's going on over here. Holy paragraphs, Batman. Mogged. Absolutely. What? Huh? Why? Why are these the same thing? This is why. It's actually why, because it costs gauge. But I just need literally any other text on this ability. I want it to combo with TBN. I want it to synergize with Salted Earth. If you're standing in Salted Earth and you use Oblation, I would even take Salted Earth if they took away the damage from Salted Earth and just made it just a mitigation bubble. That would be a huge win for Dark Knight, I think, in terms of like what I bring to a party. So I'm actually going to add that back to here. Just party mitt. I wouldn't even care. Lol. It would be so fine. I wish Oblation was just part of TBN. It really do feel like everyone else got turned their base button and they gave Dark the other half. Yeah. There's definitely the argument there of like Oblation is so bad because TBN is so good. I'm so sympathetic to that. I literally just need one extra line of text. I like my Oblation heals you when target takes damage. No, that's a great idea. There's just so many. The problem with Oblation, the problem with this ability is that it could be basically anything. And it's just this right now. And to me, it's always underwhelming. It's always been underwhelming. And it needs a little bit more space in the kit and in the jobs design for it to actually feel like a button that matters to press. Because the current upside with Oblation is that in Raid, I can TBN one person, Oblation another person, and then Oblation another person. I can get Mitt up on a lot of people, which is actually unique in comparison to the other tanks, right? Because on the other tanks, you can, Paladin, you can intervention one person and then like cover another person, maybe, I guess, technically. On Warrior, you can just target them with your heal. And on Gunbreaker, you've got the regen and the targeted shield. I'm sorry if I don't know the names of them. I'm not a Omni tank main. I just dabble. Just something to get Oblation a little bit more in line with the other tank abilities would be huge. That'd be huge. I would really, really, really appreciate it. My number 4 is honestly kind of a recent discovery for me, and it might come off as a little salty. I'm not sure how I really describe it. I've been playing a lot of Dark Knight on my alt to try to get it raid ready. So I started leveling Dark Knight. And boy, howdy, Living Dead is sort of really backwards in its design. Living Dead is counterintuitive to how healers heal in dungeon situations. For static situations, for raid, 8-person trials, etc., obviously Living Dead works just fine. They know you're gonna die, they don't press their buttons, who cares? But in dungeons, as an oh shit button, Living Dead is very counter how healers want to play. In the sense of, if you use LD too early, healer mitt and healer, healing over time, very easily make it so you don't die. Like, it happens a lot. Even if I pop my Living Dead and I say in text chat, I just use Living Dead, most healers still keep their regens rolling, keep their mitt rolling. Cardia is just healing over time from them doing damage. Healers want to be doing damage, which is great. It's awesome. White Mage Holy Stun, exactly. It's just very opposite of how the classes play. And then the flip side is also true. If you use it too late, the healer sees you low and panic heals, even with Living Dead notif in chat, which is so reasonable. It's so reasonable. It is not the healer's fault. It's fucking Living Dead. It's Living Dead. It doesn't play how people play this game. I feel the same way about Home Gang, but folks always say it's good for raid, and that's a worthwhile trait. It makes me sad, man. So the thing about Home over Living Dead is Home Gang, the warrior, can heal itself back up regardless. And this is regardless of healer interactivity. LD is not like that. It's not like that at all. Dark Knight's self-heal is so bad that if your Living Dead doesn't kill you and you're at low HP, unless you have Abyssal Drain up and there's enough mobs to hit and heal you to full, you are going to die. Because your Living Dead healing is locked behind actually dying. You have to die to heal. I think Living Dead in my like perfect world. I'm gonna go back to typing, man. This is way worse. My handwriting's so bad. Yep, Living Dead heal effect should apply even if you don't die. That is exactly what I was about to say before I got very distracted by typing. Heal should be up even if you don't die. Maybe even at the end of 10 seconds, I would even be like the argument of like, if after 10 secs still not dead, you still get heal buff. Something like that. Lily Bell can be detonated. Yeah. There's a couple of ways to fix it. The other way to fix it, to be honest, you don't change Living Dead at all, but you give Dark Knight way better self-heal. Thoughts on it not being a button Living Dead just happens if you die ever? That's an interesting suggestion. I don't necessarily know if I would prefer that necessarily. Yeah, I think making it automatic would end up with some weird situations for sure. But that's definitely a way they could do it. I mean, I wouldn't be even that opposed. Yeah, that's a totally fair solution. I think that my actual preference would be if they were to hugely buff Dark Knight self-healing. E.g., so if you end up in situations where LD runs out, but you didn't die, you can insta heal to full, or not even necessarily to full. You can start healing yourself back up. If you can start topping yourself back up efficiently enough, right, to not need a healer, then maybe. That requires them like completely pivoting to how, like, they currently don't want Dark Knight to be the heavy self-sustained tank, and I think that that's okay. But if they don't want it that way, then they need to give it in another way, in my opinion. A couple of different ways they could go with it. I'm cool with whatever, but again, I've been playing Dark Knight in leveling, and this has happened twice a night of leveling, something like that. Like, it is not healer's fault. Living Dead is counterintuitive. That's my soapbox on Living Dead. Some sort of change. I don't care if it's with Living Dead. The Wild Zoo is streaming. Yeah, man. I'm talking about all my predictions for tomorrow. It's good to see you, buddy. Thanks for swinging by. Get him! My only problem with heavily building Dark Self-Heal is that people already complain endlessly about jobs so much, and this is one of the most relevant differences about jobs. I 100% agree with you. I don't think buffing... The problem is that it's a scale, right? It's like, because job identity isn't in just one ability, right? Job identity exists in every ability of the class. It is true that Dark Job is represented in Living Dead and in the amount of self-heal. So no matter what they do, if they want to fix it, it'll be some shift in the job identity, right? Because on the one half, you have the self-heal portion, and on the other half, you have the uniqueness of Living Dead. I want them to keep both, ideally. Living Dead is super unique. I want that to stay true. Dark Knight self-heal is part of its job identity, and I want that also to stay true. So wherever they fix it, you know, up and down, I would rather them keep how cool Living Dead is and just buff it than change Dark Knight overall. Dark Knight gets a big heal, but it also applies a dot to yourself. That could be cool. All right, I'm checking Discord now. Dirk said he sent me something. Oh, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have the technology. It's a GIF. That sort of worked. It's an attachment, I guess. There. I feel like I'm on like a 2004 web page. I'm on your MySpace or something.
Let me rip the head off a Zuzu. I can do it 9 times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's Living Dead. We talked a lot about it. It's an important ability. I'm curious to see if they change it. Powered by the cheat. There's definitely a better way I could have done this, but the fact that I literally just Googled whiteboard software free, and this was what popped up. So it's honestly working out awesome, because this has been super cool, to be honest. And you can zoom out like infinitely. It's kind of sick. I kind of really am enjoying this. Okay, anyways. So that's Living Dead. That's number 4 on my Dark Knight to wish list. We are approaching the end of our presentation. We got one more thing left on Dark Knight and then a couple of random other notes. So let's get into it. Living Dead, it's a very awkward ability. It does not play nice with the other healers. I wish it were a little bit different, and we'll see what they do about it. Number 5 is not that complicated. It's really not. I don't have much to say about it, but my boy Esteem, my guy, my love of my life. Why are all these pictures like so fucking crusty, bro? That's crazy. Okay, we're not gonna post anything. Esteem, Frey, however you want to call him, just something different for Frey. Give him a buff to party mitt while he's out. Let me tell him to execute something. Let me pop him early, like Queen. I don't care. Something. He's just a dot, folks. He's literally just a dot. He's the video game's prettiest dot, if you ask me. He's a very pretty man, a very pretty shadow warrior, but he's just a dot. He's just a dot. He's just a boy. Last thing, I'm just gonna snip this last chunk. I like seeing him during M11S weapons and having just a smidge of panic. Yeah, I think there's no way, there's basically no way that they get rid of Frey. Make Frey equals Bunshin. I'd be down for that, for sure, for sure. We're talking again about what I want out of the tanks. Like I said, I want a more complicated rotation, and Frey does not make my rotation more complicated. He doesn't make my rotation different at all. You press the button, he does his thing, and then you get to do your cleave button. It just needs one other element. Make him generate gauge for me. That would be cool. Make him generate like 5 gauge. This is actually my separate soapbox. Soapbox time. Not that this entire thing hasn't been a soapbox, but fuck, I forgot. I forgot what I was gonna say. Shit. I'll figure it out in a second. Damn it, it's getting hot in here. Frick. Oh, don't worry. This part's getting cut out of the highlight video for sure. Well, if we think of it, we'll come back to it. For now, the soapbox goes away. It'll come back later when we need it. This is a surprise tool that'll come in handy later, or whatever the quote is from Mickey the Mouse. Ignore my soapboxing and let's go to my last stuff. All right, let me get these last couple points onto the whiteboard, and then we'll kind of start wrapping up. These are my Dark Knight changes. We've got, I want a different combo thing. I need some extra party mitt. I'd be happy if Salted Earth got changed completely into party mitt. That'd be totally cool with me. Oblation just needs a little bit more text. It needs to just put some more stuff into it to kind of get it up to, I know that it doesn't cost gauge, it doesn't blah, blah, blah. It would just be cool for it to do a little bit. Living Dead, they could change in a couple of different ways, be cool. Frey doing something different. I said shit for basically no reason. Last couple things. System changes, more customization for gear. Give me an extra materia slot. Give me a trait thing. Give me a set bonus. I'd be cool with whatever. Again, this is pie in the sky. I really don't think they're going to add any of this crap. But if they did, I'd be over the moon. We'd be at instant A+ if they announce any of this stuff tomorrow. I really think the gear progression system could use a third source of gear. Even if that third source comes in the catch-up patch, I'd appreciate it. The variant and advanced dungeons of this expansion have been pretty interesting. It would be cool to see them add that to the progression pathway. Like, you know, for example, dungeon gear, expert dungeon level gear is a certain item level. Variant and advanced gear gives you plus 10 item levels. And then that gets into tombstone and then raid tier gear. They can split it up however they want, but me personally, I think it would be cool to do a little bit more steps. I like steps. I like progressing through my character. I like gearing up my stuff. It's always a lot of fun. If they add a couple extra steps for me this expansion, I'm going to be over the moon. Do I think it's going to happen? Definitely not. Do I want it to happen? Obviously, or else I wouldn't be here talking for an hour and a half. I care about this video game, god damn it. Oh, I guess I should add this caveat of like, This is all the stuff I want. This is all the stuff that comes to my mind when I think of things that would make me enjoy the game. Please, your mileage may vary. This stuff, it could be the worst thing for the game ever. I have no idea. I do not work for Final Fantasy XIV. I am not a representative of Square Enix. It's just stuff that I think would be neat. Okay? So that's my asterisk over this whole discussion. It's like, I'm just a dork, man. So deal. Sub-jobs, set bonuses, traits, blah, blah, blah. I've talked about all this a gazillion times. The sky is literally a limit. I will take basically any height of improvement they want to do, but we need something. Literally every alternate source of gear being glam only when it lands sure is a choice. Yeah, I am not a glamour person, as I'm sure all these people in this chat know. I don't care about glamour basically at all, so whenever they add something that's just glamour incentive, it is basically an instant miss for me. I don't care. I will wear the Dark Knight AF2 for the rest of my life. They already made the perfect set of armor. They don't need to add any more to the game as far as I'm concerned, but I'm a freak, so whatever. I know in 7.5 they're bringing some more items to the armoire. Being able to put everything in there would be the best. I don't love World of Warcraft for some number of reasons. They've got it figured out with transmogs, man. You just put the shit in the shit and then you can use it wherever. The technology must exist. It's gotta be somewhere. And then my last one here is completely pie in the sky. New hair colors. I dye my hair, obviously. And the hair colors that you can get in-game are just a little bit too pastel for me, I guess. They're not super vibrant. I want a lot of the neon hairstyles like the Solution 9 people have. So I think that would be cool. This is like, I don't think this is ever gonna happen, but who knows? It would be a cool thing to unlock. I would sooner unlock new hairstyles, new hair colors, than I would new hairstyles, if that makes any sense. Love my pastel pink hair. Yes. The hair colors in the game are quite good, but for me, I wish it was more representative of the colors that I dye my hair in real life. Let us apply dyes to hair like any other dye channel. If they can make that work, great. But again, I have no idea. I am not a developer, so that would be cool, but I got no things about that. This is the end of my discussion. That being said, I had one more thing I was going to soapbox about. So let me stew on this a moment while I try to remember. I think this is it. This is everything I really wanted to talk about. Ultimate glow for hair would be Biss for sure. Of course, thank you for popping by. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. I really enjoyed this formatting, so maybe we'll try to do a little more whiteboard discussions in the future. I think that's really fun. Okay, what was my soapbox gonna be? What was this soapbox, man? Shit! Was it a tank balance thing, maybe? Soapbox. I'm gonna read back through everything. 7.5 is what we're gonna talk about first. The ultimate, it's gonna be Kefka. I hope it's Warring Triad, but if it's X-Death or Chaos, I'm also happy. In terms of story stuff, I'm thinking we're gonna have to deal with the Remnants of Garlemald plus the Void. That'll either be just the 7.5 story or that will be some iteration towards what's the 8.0 stuff. There's lots of ice imagery, so maybe it's some sort of Heaven's Ward 2 or whatever. I'm kind of ambivalent to everything, but those are, I guess, Void, Space, and Ice are like my main guesses at themes. Beastmaster, I really hope the pick 3 thing is kind of interesting because, again, I think when they add stuff to auxiliary modes, it makes me hopeful that they would maybe implement it in the rest of the game in some capacity or something close, but who literally knows? I have no idea. And then the 24-man, I'm sure is going to be great. The other two were awesome, and I know nothing about Final Fantasy XI, so it's basically all new content to me, which is great. Cold Crescent, haven't done it yet. We need to get there. 8.0, we're definitely going to get a teaser trailer. We're going to figure out how many jobs there are, potentially the roles of those jobs, any big system changes that they want to announce as a big budget part of the expansion. That's going to be in this FanFest is my guess. We're going to know the level cap, zones, dungeons. They're going to potentially announce the 24-man series, the 8-man series, and then we're probably going to get some amount of release window, which would be cool. My guesses for jobs, we're going to get a Fizz ranged and potentially a tank. Fizz ranged, probably a little more greedy like Machinist. Tank, though, I would prefer something more magical like Paladin or Dark Knight as opposed to Gunbreaker and Warrior, which I feel is more physical. My personal preference would be that we get the same distinction that healers have of shield versus pure, and we get tanks that are more off tank versus main tank. I don't care what they call them. I don't care how they work mechanically, but some distinction between, so we have two sets of two in the same way that healers do, I think would benefit all the tanks in terms of identity and balance and class design. So, system changes. Yoshi has been hinting at system changes. I don't know it's going to be some massive thing. I don't know if it's going to be basically nothing. My guess is it's going to be more akin to when we got materia slots in raid gear back in Heaven's Ward. It's just one more little piece of customization, which me personally, I'm a huge fan of, but we'll see if it ends up being some bigger system. I'm not going to be mad. Level-wise, I don't think we're getting sub-jobs. I think that's a little bit too much customization for Final Fantasy XIV. I think we're much more likely to receive 10 additional levels instead of 100s. The tank rolls were a Shadowbringers feature that never happened. I think with the technology that they have gotten from the shield versus pure healer thing, I think they could do a good job of MT versus OT preference. And maybe they make that preference like sustain tanks versus mitigation tanks. Like if they do sustain tanks versus shield tanks, right? It could be a lot of things, and I'm really kind of ambivalent, but I think it has benefited the healers to get divided into those two groups in terms of class design, and I think the same would be true for tanks as well, but we'll see. My assumption is we're getting a 10 level increase. It could be 5. I don't think we're getting sub jobs. If we do get sub jobs, my hope would be they would be attached to some level of character customization. So as a Dark Knight, I could pick Paladin or Warrior or Ninja or whatever. I don't think that this is particularly likely. I'd be over the moon if it were to happen, but I don't think it's likely. I think the more likely thing is that our jobs stay at level 100 and we get plus 10 to generic hero level, some extra category that we can start pumping levels into, because then that clears us to all the way to 200, right? Because if we're 100 Dark Knight plus 100 levels of hero or whatever, then we end up having a whole additional range. And then if there's a system within this additional level, right, if it functions differently than previous leveling, that could be something interesting as well. We'll see what they do. Might just be generic power or hero levels if they want to do raw power. I would be happy with that, but I guess we'll see. Release window, I know people are better at math at it. My guess is spring/summer 2027, because the last Fan Fest is in November. And if I go 3 months out from that, we end up in the February, April, March zone. So that's my thought. Spring, summer. This is pie in the sky. This is the stuff that I don't think is what's going to happen, but it's what I would. If any of this stuff happens, I'm basically A+ expansion from get-go. I don't want a 5th tank. I don't think it makes any sense. I think they do the OT-MT split. I think they do 2 and 2, and they don't add a tank. They do add the fizz ranged. I don't fucking care what it is. I'm never gonna play it probably unless it's like literally swashbuckling like One Piece ass anime pirate man would be basically the only thing that super attracts me in the fizz ranged realm. But we'll see. If it's some swashbuckling greedy fizz ranged, I think that could be cool, but who knows. Job adjustments major. So if they go for no tank and they go for the tank split, main tank off tank, I hope that they would be able to focus more on job adjustments for all the other classes. So we can dial back into job customization, character choices, traits or trinkets or something like that. Some additional system that they would be able to use to further make people's choices matter and to further accentuate job identity. I think that would be really great for the game. Obviously, I think every tank should be deleted and only Rune Fencer needs to exist. As you can see, he's down here. He's very powerful. Yep, tank split, main tank, off tank. Dren said a really cool thing that I literally hadn't considered before we had this discussion of if you have your main tank stance on, you have less ranged options. If you have your tank stance off, you have more ranged options so that you can go out and do mechanics. Kind of think almost in my mind Viper in terms of being able to use ranged GCDs to make up for uptime, it would be cool, and I think it would make sense for Dark Knight and Paladin to have even more of that. And in a way, Paladin does actually have a lot of that with its magic combo, because it does get 6 string GCDs, or 4 or whatever, that are completely ranged. And I think it would be really cool for Dark Knight to have something like that too. Could be neat. I hope they don't make them too similar, but yeah, that way Dark Knight can get spells. Exactly, my dude. Something like that could be cool. Oh, and the other thing I was thinking, I really like the ranged option that Drins was talking about, but the other thing that I was thinking was like a positional type situation. Whereas if you have your main, like your combos at base have positional requirements, like for example, your 1-2-3 is back combo and your 1-2-4 is a side combo or whatever. As a main tank, if you turn on your stance, you don't need to care about your positionals. And then as an off tank, if you don't have your stance on, you have to get positionals, but you do more damage. But that's just because I'm a sadist who wants to have positionals on a tank stance, tank class. Personal wish list for specifically Dark Knight. I really don't want to do another tier where I have to just press 1-2-3 again. I would love a 4th hit of my combo. Again, party mitt, Salted Earth, make it party mid. I don't care if it deals any damage. Oblation, give it more text. Living Dead, we wrote a whole thing about it, but basically it doesn't play nice with the healers, and I wish it played a little bit better, or if Dark Knight was a little bit more accommodating for Living Dead's downsides. So we'll see if anything happens with that. And then Frey is just kind of boring still. He should do a thing. Everything like that would be awesome, but I'm not expecting basically any of it. So I had one more thing I was going to soapbox on, and I will give myself 3 seconds to figure it out. It's gone. There's no way. We're no longer soapboxing. I forgot what I was going to say. Okay. That's it. These are all my my thoughts, pretty much. Everything I can think to say in terms of what is going to be revealed tomorrow. If they don't go over certain things, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I can't 100% remember what they reveal at which fan fests or if it'll even follow the same pattern. But we'll figure it out when we get to it. This was very fun to write. I enjoyed presenting. I hope people enjoyed giving their feedback as well. I am very tired. I've had a wonderful day. This was very fun, but I am ready to be done streaming and maybe make a video out of this. We'll see. The MTOT distinction should definitely happen. My question about the MTOT distinction is if they just literally make it like primary tank, secondary tank, or if they make it like shield versus pure healer, and one of them is a shield tank and the other is a sustain tank. It's basically if they want to split it via like position or via strategy, if that makes any sense, right? Sustain tank versus shield tank. You know, you've got your warrior on this side, right? With Thrill. No. Whatever. Your stupid OP button that you can instant heal up to full. Whatever it's called. And then on shield tank, you've got Dark Knight with TBN, right? Bloodwetting, thank you. I'm literally going to change that. Thank you. Could be either way. I'm down for whatever split, but I think any split that they make, as long as it's something reasonable and we can play around it. And at the end of the day, even if they make it so Dark Knight and Warrior aren't the optimal comp, I still fucking play Dark Knight. Who cares? But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I think it'll be an interesting expansion for tanks for sure. Whether or not we get a 5th tank or not, right? Like, if we get a 5th tank, that has certain implications about what direction they're going with, right? Because then we're going to get a 6th tank, right? I think that's the bigger thing for me about why I think there's not going to be a 5th tank, is because I don't think there's going to be a 6th tank. So why make a 5th if you're not going to make a 6th? That's just my sort of sauce, bro. The other option, I guess, is like they make 5 super distinct tanks, but I don't think that they can do that. Like, the job space is not there to keep it balanced. They have no sign of doing it that way. I don't think there's any universe where we get 5 tanks completely distinct, completely like job identity fixed like that. There's basically no way that happens. But I guess we'll see. Who knows? All right, this has been super duper fun. Thank you guys so freaking much for watching. This is way different than what I normally do, and I honestly had a blast. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my birthday evening. I'm gonna chill the fuck out because I've been running around like a crazy person. And this goes out to anybody. I wish you the best of luck in the keynote. I hope that you get what you're wanting. You specifically. Whoever's watching this, I hope you get what you want. Everyone should be happy. I've had a wonderful birthday, and this was such a sick way to top it off, is to talk about nerd shit for like 2 hours. So, what more can you ask for? All right, folks, take it easy. We will see you next time. Enjoy the keynote.